Hi folks, it's a big day today. So we are going to have some decisions as far as progressing to the cut is concerned in the World Cup. So we have the 5 group rounds completed now, and we have the group standings. As you can see, we have so everyone ranked in the top 2 in their group is through to the top 8 cut, which is Liechtenstein and Greece from the first group. Then we have Catalonia, Senia and Slovenia from the second group, and Czech Republic and China from actually this is wrong, so the Austria is ahead of China on the tiebreaker because they won the head-to-head, so it's Czech Republic and Austria through to the top 8 from the third group. And the other teams that are still in contention are the third place teams, which is Norway, Italy and China, and they will be engaging in this three-way contest. So each team plays each other team once in a best of 1 game, and whoever loses against both opponents is out and the other teams are through. If it's a complete draw again, so each winning exactly 1 game, then we repeat the process, and they will be bringing mystery decks which they've submitted in advance. I don't know what they are, but the first game is scheduled to start in 20 seconds ago. Cool. So we'll join it if it started, and it is going to be Italy and China playing first. Italy plays both games today, actually. Later tonight they play against Norway. So if they lose both, they are already out and it's decided. But if they win one and lose the other, then it's incredibly high stakes on the last game then, which we'll see someone eliminated. Yes. Shall we join the game if it started? Okay. So I was trying to guess which decks they will play. You have to submit 2 decks, and it's not random. You submit a deck against a specific faction. So I speculated actually that China would play Targ Free Companies and possibly the Stark deck, which has been doing well, the Dialogue deck. So they bring Targ Free Companies here, played by Cat, who is one of their very best players. And Italy, yes, you have Alessandro playing Baratheon. He's played, I think, even 3 decks in this tournament, but 2 he's played regularly, and he's been winning a lot. His Baratheon has won, I think, most games. Not sure if all the games, but most for sure. And I think they will also be looking possibly for the Targ deck in the other game, because it's 4-1 for them, for Italy as well. The Targ Trident, I think they're playing. So those are popular choices. By the way, China also has a Baratheon, which is okay. So we'll see. How does this match up? Well, we had this in the group stage against Italy, the Free Companies deck, which is very similar to China's deck, and we lost, but it was super close, and I feel like we could have won that game, possibly. So it can go either way, and I myself have played the Smuggler's version of Baratheon quite a few times against Targ Mercenaries now. I have some losses and some wins, so it can go either way, but Coraine's in play. I assume that there will be a warship maybe that's one in shadows right now, the Narrow Sea Drummond, and then yeah, there's the Neil for the key characters, right, like the Dario Naharis and Golden Company and Vargo and whatever else, but also he kneels at the same time the Plaza of Pride, which prevents stand. He can kneel Marine and Flea Bottom. So you have some answers with that, but Begging Brother, which with Vargo there and possibly Unbridled Generosity and the agenda triggers, of course, means that it's very difficult to get the triggers through if there's a fully loaded Begging Brother there. and it's difficult to milk it because they all play Shadow of the East also to save their characters from getting milked. This Italy version of the deck plays Morgulis, so if there's ever a big begging brother, I think they might just play that. There is what's going on? It double took the gold for black cell somehow. Okay. I forget what reset China has. I think it has. And Korean's duped, so you can Morgulis, he stays in play. Yeah, it could work out okay. Two gold left. In shadows there is I mean he'd use the reducer, right, if that was Shadow Priestess, so it has to be the Dromont. It could be Old Bit Bone technically. And Vargo gets the gold here from free companies immediately. And we have milk for Corain, which will, I mean, with black cells and Dromont possibly you can still fizzle around a little bit here probably, right? Even with milk, but then you need to find a sweet slip because Corain is going to be really important. And how much do we bestow Tyrion? Usually the Targ players are quite conservative with these bestow triggers. They don't want to invest too much. Just the one and one from Vargo. You kind of expect there to be at some point some unbridled also happening. Of course Vargo can redistribute that gold as well. And important for Tyrion to also find the dupe. So you can't immediately Morgulis with those two key characters in play. And now that Corain can't kneel Plaza of Pride, it means probably that can't really fizzle this round. If Dromont comes out and kneels Jorah or Tyrion, then Plaza can be used, and it puts a card in the discard pile as well for Tyrion to use, potentially. Doesn't bother kneeling Jorah before doing this military. Okay, it's gonna do nothing. Wait for a better time, I guess. Man, I think reducer will go. Huh, okay, the name of your king. I didn't see that one coming. I forgot that's in the deck. It's not very typical these days. I mean, okay, you can take it to a tournament where you expect some heavy aggro. We had that in recent past, some situations like that. I mean, the online worlds was full of Tark Sea of Blood somehow, and there was a very aggressive Stark Filthy in the final as well. So that could have been a good call, but in a tournament like this where realistically 5 factions won't try to aggro you, it's not very typical. Oh, of all the cards that could have gone. That's after Delena found one of the little bastards as well, right? Um, actually, Delena's ability there does kind of mess with the Plaza of Pride. I didn't consider that. I have to do your discarding and stuff before challenges, and there was nothing knelt. So. Kind of a slow start for both players, honestly, because on one side we don't have the Marine and Iron Bank start, and on the other we now have a Milk Corain without warships, and now Econ Marshaled. Ooh, that's rough. That's 2 cards, right? Reducer and maybe not Isle of Ravens now that Robert's been discarded. Or do you still give him the Isle of Ravens? No, you don't, right? Because it messes with your discard pile too much as well. Okay, it would be tough to carry Isle of Ravens through Mad King's Command, but still. And there we are with Vargo in play as well. And now infinite gold coming up in the marshalling phase. In the marshalling phase though, because having a lot of gold on the Iron Bank does nothing in challenges where you, on the low gold plots like Matkins Command, carry sometimes 3 or 4 through at best, and you do need that if there's a card in shadows. Well, there's gonna be now also some renown pressure from these two. I would say you have to maybe look at the Morgulis play, because Dark hasn't drawn yet, but they will probably find their Marine now on the Brenda Builder. Oof, it's already here, so now you cannot, because they will have the resources. They spent some of the Iron Bank though, so it will take some time again. Yeah, there's different ways in which you can play as a Tyrion target, in which you can play the Iron Bank. Just enough to find. Okay, but now faction cards knelt and Iron Bank is genuinely depleted. Is the last card unbridled? No, that would be a bit too much probably. Now if you want to keep Golden Company in play, it's 1 card saving the other, I guess. Oof. He does have both Roberts still. Well, and no Begging Brother, so that's okay. I was gonna say there's two ways, two approaches to the Iron Bank. You can just accept it as basically a small econ location that you drain every round and get a little bit back, or you can just try to leave it as much as you can, and then it's 10 gold. In the late game, on one of the rounds, it's gonna save you by not spending anything or something, or by I don't know, you trigger Marine and you marshal everything that exists. It's we've seen in the past some proper combo being played even out of I mean with Iron Bank as the key card, just get it to 100 gold, then some unlimited Vanguard Lancer or something. Sparrows even. But after the redesign it's not so easy, because it doesn't double every round. It gain 5 at best. Corain gets unmilked, but there's no warship, so he can't do anything. Not sure how many milks in the Targ deck, but if there's no warships, maybe you unmilk, maybe you switch Sleep Robert instead. Not sure. And he also needs cell saves, because if Robert triggers, he will for sure trigger on the bigs, right? Because there's 3 renowns. So that will include the Korean then. Still black cells there with no targets. Nothing's gonna come out of shadows for free. What else went through to the discard pile? So just Aegon. He's a lord. Can't cheat him into play from the discard pile, I don't think. Well, is there gonna be any renown on these golden companies? Otherwise, just putting them in a challenge just for the sake of winning a challenge is not really achieving that much. So Vargo will potentially get renown if he wants. Doesn't bother. That's the last one that was still missing, flea bottom. Takes Korean up. Haven't actually double checked the decks before the game, so I was under the impression that the Italy Bara Summer plays Morgulis. Could be misremembering though. But then if they were gonna do Harris, then probably wouldn't see Sweet Sleep on Korean and then he goes. So one of the golden companies gets renown and well, doesn't do a challenge back, which surprises me because you want basically as much stuff knelt as possible ahead of the Robert trigger, but I guess maybe yeah, I'll keep that big knelt and Tyrion would have defended that, so it's basically irrelevant. 6-0, but the power on Jorah is not staying, of course. I don't think so anyway. E-complot, okay, so maybe now if you have no super urgent things, you put gold back on the iron bank and just leave it. Yeah. Into grand melee. One round where the control is slightly easier than other rounds. You need to kneel fewer things to fizzle the challenges. Milk on Robert, well, there's another Sweet Sleep potentially in the deck. But yeah, if everything stands at the end of this round, then you kind of have to reset at that point. So he gains keywords of everything with keywords, right? Which at the moment is renown and stealth. It's pretty good. And surely there's something drawn for Plaza to stand at Dario or Golden Company. I mean, Septa Lemore could have, but she goes into play instead. Yeah, she's too important. I can bring that character out and then you're safe from resets. But Milk from the other side as well. On the by far the most annoying character in play, of course. I don't know if that's Shadow of the East, but I doubt it. I think it's probably Aegon. Otherwise, I think you'd just probably stand with Plaza instead of doing Martian except anymore. But you do have to realize also that I suck with this Dark Free Companies deck. I don't see the play patterns very clearly. I played it in one of the friendly open events just for testing purposes when we were trying to finalize our deck, and I didn't play that well. Lost most games there. What's this going on, Delena? Or Black Cells? Black Cells. Well, still has the icons to do 2 challenges if he wants. Plus a card in Shadows. Okay. Could use the Wily Smuggler. Maybe should have, that was a good card. Although, there is of course a chance that there is even better in hand. Up to 8 now. But unless the card in Shadows comes out, it's gonna be 2 unopposed for Bara here. Yeah, this is not worth defending because it will sack Jorah, right? If you bring a military icon in and Jorah successor defense. And now that Septa Lemore is pretty key there, because I was gonna say, assuming there is Morghulis, you might now want to consider it, because Corraine, you could keep now the small cards knelt, and Corraine in taxation can kneel that Meereen and whatever else, Vargo. still lives with Plaza though, which is a bit annoying, but Tark's out of cards and maybe there's an opportunity, but yeah. Aegon straight back in shadows and Dario's gonna go to hand. So Tark's doing really well. Not getting... they're not losing on the card advantage they have. They always have stuff to repopulate, so no reset window. Doesn't actually do anything with this, but was nothing else, I guess, convenient to kill, and this has drawn him a Dario. But Bara still gonna win the 2 challenges. And dominance should be tied after Dario goes to hand. I assume he will go to hand. I doubt he would save him here. But he does, okay. Well, it forces Bara to do something though, because now there's another big body with Renown there. And they all stand anyway, yeah, because it's now milked properly. Still needs the draw card and the one that for sure survives, and now we're gonna see the reset, I think. And hope for the best, right? Does the China team have Return to the Fields in their Targ deck? So they will have their own reset plus Matkins Command. So the Harris, I think, Matkins Command, and I would assume Close Call. And there's one left, which could be Return. Yeah, but it's into trade routes. So Bara gambling that they have another round where they survive. Okay, Jorah can't go into a challenge unless there's a begging brother to cancel his first reaction. And then there is 4 renown in play, plus Vargo, who is currently knelt for potential renown, let's call it. Plus Aegon bringing another one, yeah. It's gonna be tight, I think. How about a set down our deeds for 6 cards? Ah. Sex 1 anyway, okay. Well. Discard pile is still healthy as far as mercenaries are concerned, if you can interact with it. Tyrion's milked at the moment though. Near Zikon, not Plaza. And he comes duped, otherwise it would be unusual, I guess. Ah, okay. But you do have the Plaza window here as Targ. Bara will also have Close Call and somehow there's nothing dead yet, but after Morghulis there should be. And what else does Bara have? Another exchange and Morghulis, right? don't need marshalling. Would it not be more prudent now to maybe keep that Aegon for after the reset? I mean, it's a healthy lead at the moment, and you can keep the pressure on. But now with the knelt Marine possibly again in taxation. Well, he has a dupe for him, so that's what, Vargo, Tyrion and Aegon surviving, which is not the worst thing. And character with insight. Oh, is he getting duped as well? Or is he just here to try to squeeze 7 power out of this round? Otherwise, he's gonna stand Vargo, who at the moment is empty, so no keywords for him. So if there's gonna be more rounds, you make sure Lisona wins the challenge, right? And if you can manipulate some gold for at least Shagwell to get keyword. Sonomar goes to hand. Doesn't stick in play, okay. Well, but he is in hand for next time then. Which one? Dario. Well, he potentially goes, right? Because he's not duped. So power on him is not safe, but he needs him anyway. He can stand other stuff, but not really. Through the Lena, I guess. Is he annoying potentially with his ability? He can take cells. Well, he can take a bunch of these shots, but nothing really that great. Technically there's no claim soak, but don't see a particular problem just defending this. Vargo's gonna grab himself renown. Maybe from Dario here, right? Okay. He had to do that to give Shagwell renown, I think. There was nothing with renown that had gold. Up to 10. A lot of power goes in the reset if Bara survives, but can they? I think they can. And if that last card is set on our deeds, that would be really convenient. If it's something else, then you have Wily Smuggler there. Did he need to use cells though? I wonder. He stood Narrow Sea Drummond this round, so that he could use the other ship with to give stealth, which which is slightly unusual, because in standing, Corain could have knelt two of the bodies with dupes, right? First one you kneel, let's say Vargo with Plaza, and then you stand and you kneel Tyrion and Meereen or Fleabottom. That's a really good deal. Now he's gonna leave a little more standing than he could have. Yeah, just a pose. Pose with the wily smuggler, I think. Climb cell says, not sure I do that because there's no, well, he has Isle of Ravens technically, but if Cat plays a preemptive to Harris, which I'm guessing again that it's in the deck, and chooses to go first, then you can put those cells back in the deck, and they're super valuable actually if they come with Corain. Whereas Wily Smuggler does nothing for the rest of the game basically. Wins power on defense as well, which is quite valuable. And what's the dominant situation? Bara wins that, okay. So, well survived from Bara. No cards though, and now zero claim plot with low gold, but there's gonna be a lot of power gone. 7 power gone for Tark, so it's effectively 5-4, right? But Tark has econ and card advantage. Should have had an extra nil here, I think, with Corain. Doesn't help nil if you leave Plaza standing, that's the thing. Well, it's more fun to go second. Does he want to make sure Morgulis triggers before close call, or does he not care? So what's unique that's getting killed here? Dario and Carry. Don't think anything else is multiple copies in the deck. Yeah, thinks going second's more valuable. I don't necessarily disagree with that. I think it's a decent call, but let's see what he does with Plaza, because Saldor's still there. Maybe if he top decks a small smuggler, actually has to kneel something bigger to get gold. Is there anything bigger? Nothing really. Six gold. And there goes Plaza. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not the worst thing, these locations, for exchange next round or close call where you get an extra card. And still Targ has Mad King's Command and Harris presumably, right? Which is not bad for Bara. I mean, Mad King's Command is not great, but Targ has 7 locations in play also. Harris not bad for Bara. Needed that one though, so that will do what now? So Dario's gone, right? But Golden Company can't keep himself in play though with Tyrion's ability. That puts to the bottom, not to hand. Suppose he's mildly annoying, but could have had that in case Korean comes back. Anything for flea bottom? Septilemore is also dead, right? Septilemore is not dead. Did he close call her when I wasn't paying attention? I suppose so. So then, if military is done, she can come in and put Aegon in shadows. The only thing is you consider unopposed with that, which is the 5th power for triggering those King's Gates. I might try to block that honestly, if I could, because with 0 cards, Bara's not winning this game. Can still flea bottom her, right? And she leaves play, so she leaves play at the end and just puts Aegon back before Erdo Harris or Mad King's Command. So I think Targ's in a good spot still. Bara's playing without a hand for too long. Some leftover gold and stuff. Would need good set down or deeds, I think. Okay, what are we doing with Vargo's gold? Nothing obvious, okay. Yeah. So Lisono has insight and she gives him insight, so I think you bring Septilemore in and attack with Aegon on the power challenge. No. Gonna grab the unopposed maybe. It's not desperate to get those cards and can keep that for next time. No, still gonna do it. Okay. Then, yeah, it was a misplay, forgetting her passive, I guess. Could have drawn another card with Aegon there. 7-4. Still not completely over, because Bara has a droplet. Now what? The Harris? Yep. Gets Alador off the board, I guess. Okay. So it's gonna be Reducer, Kingsgate. Okay, probably not Sweet Sleep at this point, or maybe, I mean, Tapestry is quite useful. Sweet Sleep's not that important. But Sad Honor Deeds, he has to give him, but with 11 minutes left, you can't sack 3 power to get 6 cards here, because you won't make up the difference, I think. Corain. Oh, I have to wait for Close Call to come around, because he's dead, and that's 2 more rounds. Yeah, he's probably thinking that won't be happening, and that's a good call then. He's gonna do it anyway. How many? All 6. Okay. What you need is some stuff that goes in shadows ahead of Matkins command. Then you try to have a really strong round there, I think. Chamber this round would help. Cancels Mirin, but with Aegon available, I think it's not super urgent for Targ. Also needs an intrigue icon, so that you don't concede anything here. King's Landing comes late. You need that in play as soon as possible, I guess. It's gonna gain some gold back immediately, so it costs 5, but in reality in the late game it will cost 3 because it gains 2 back. Well, he's drawn a lot, and now he does have econ to have a really good last round. But 7-1. Well, for Targ, I think try not to waste any of the tricks here is what I would suggest, because on Matkins command that's usually a decisive plot for Targ, because they can cheat stuff in, but also it's a plot where a potentially wide board like the one we had at the beginning goes smaller, and then you just need a few cards, right? Like one Black Cells, which I suspect is now getting seized, and one Shadow Priestess in something and the whole thing is controlled and Bara gets a good round out of that. That's I've had games like that against this deck. It's been basically the main difference compared to the past, right? Where it was a struggle to survive Matkins Command, and you had to kind of make the adjustments in these Bara control decks, in this one and in Bara Free Companies, to get the shadow cards in for those rounds and for first now, and now you can have a good round there if you have the cards. Okay, so Black Sass now irrelevant on the Matkins Command turn, which is a shame for Alessandro here. Pass and try not to concede much, is that the plan? I don't think he'll gain any power by attacking. He's gonna give himself stealth. Military he does well. That needs to be, I guess, defended. How about just Vargo stops this now? Okay. So what's the plan now exactly? Because you need those cards for next round, so I assume he's now gonna leave this and kill Septo Lemore. Get Aegon back in shadows and Golden Company is gonna stay there and save itself, right? Yeah. He's played this alright, I think, done what he needed to. Bara brought the power difference down after that Murgulis, but didn't have the cards to follow up, and Tark had the resources. Tark needs to set up that Mirin and Iron Bank and cards in shadows to repopulate after the reset when they lose all the renowned bodies and stuff, and they did that. Comes out again. He's gonna grab more stuff. I mean, Alessandro's finished challenges and there's 5 minutes left, so I would suggest we're going into another round. But okay, this one can also keep itself in play, and then you keep... what do you keep? Because you want to keep Tyrion surely as well, right? On Matkins Command. Can he get anywhere close to 15? There's 3 renowned in play. And power challenge. It's unopposed with Tyrion. Plus Plaza can stand. There's no Delena now. Yeah. Unfortunate to have to spend this shadow trigger, but keeps the game alive, I guess. The difference is gonna be too much. Oof, begging brother. If that was in play to cancel this stuff, would be quite valuable. Well, I'm now quite interested to see whether all the teams will bring the Targ decks. I don't think they will actually. I think Italy and China have top Targ decks that they are not playing against each other, so Targ played against Italy, and Italy will play it against Norway, I suspect. Just guessing, I don't know the decks. Norway won't play it because their Targ deck's bad. I think they played some Summer Burn, which is, I mean, it's not bad, but it's not one of these top decks that you get that you play in the key game. I think Norway has a Lenny Crossing that's really a deck that's suitable for this situation. I think they've been doing well with Knights of Alliance as well, so that would be my bet as well for them at least. But what do China and Italy play in the remaining games? I think China has a Stark deck that's really strong, or it has been doing well anyway. And Italy, yeah, I'd be surprised if they left out Targaryen. We will go another round, I think. Bar has been winning dominance successfully most rounds, but no chamber that could have. How many rounds we played? 5. Let's say 3 chamber triggers would be 8-5, and then we still have a game. No. Why? Yeah, there's no way to come back. I think even if you control them, that they don't do anything on Metkin's command, you can't reset the renown, guys. Away. So what's the hypothetical? Okay, Korean will come back now, right? I said 2 more rounds. Close call was still left, so Korean will come back. Can nil everything. Let's say Bara does 3 unopposed and power claim. That's 6, and Targ loses 1. It's 10-6, and dominance 10-7. And if you play chamber, that's 9-8. And what else? Switch sleeve for Robert so that he gets renown. That would tie it. And then Targ wins on cards in left deck. I don't think it's in any way possible. Unless Targ has to also claim one of these guys that has power on them currently. Just in case. Okay, that will just be here to cancel the marshalling phase nil. Yeah. 4 triggers it can cancel. Okay, let's concede. Just in case there's a milk. We got another one. To be fair, they were missing all game, but then milks were there instead. couldn't be done. Well, that's China surviving for now. If they beat Norway, they are through. If they lose, then they await the result of the last one. Actually, they play the last one, right? Tomorrow anyway, because it's Italy against Norway tonight. So yes. Yeah, China was, I mean, just barely getting through. The other two have 30 points in their group, and they are well ahead of the next place team. But China on 25, losing the tiebreaker to Austria, and if the USA won the last game against Australia, China would be out completely. But and they had chances right in the last round. They were playing against Czech Republic to save themselves. They had things in their own hands and they lost pretty miserably. But when it comes to this kind of situation where you just have to get a top player with a top deck to play these best of one games, China is really strong, and this suits them, right? They look at the team they have here. So I mean, how many of these guys are like 70% win rate players? They've been struggling. Three of their very best players have been really struggling in this event, winning 2 games between them in 5 rounds of play, which is they have 15 players, but I don't think they do actually. So we have a duplicate here. Some players that are just here as reserves are not really gonna play, and I'm pretty sure Djiboutiaud and Avadaju are the same person. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's the case. So that's another duplicate as well there. But yeah, then they have players who are not struggling. Well, is that because of their individual form? I don't think so. It's just that maybe they have 3 decks that are not were not good calls this year. But I think Bing's Lenny Shadow attempts. Sorry for the glitch. So the Lenny Reigns with the tunnels that he's played in the past. He's played out of Banner Falcon even a few years ago. He has been really strong. When looking at it though, it's slightly out of date. It looks to me like it could have had Slander and Lies and the Drummond and stuff like that. That it fits perfectly, but it seems like it's an old deck that was just brought in here. But I expect that to do really well. I had my doubts about the Night's Watch Kraken without a reset. And Therese Sun Shadow deck, I mean, has some struggles with the win condition, but you can imagine that deck doing better than it did in this tournament. But the other players so far compensating well, and we could still see these 3 top players that are struggling now come to life in the cut, and China still really dangerous. So, but they are not through yet. So as I said, if each team wins 1 game, then it's all tied again, and we have to repeat. But for now, they save themselves, and Italy is now on the verge of elimination, and they play tonight. If they lose, the last game is irrelevant. We might not even play that. We go straight into pairings. But if Italy wins, then it's China versus Norway for the cut. Okay, I think we've rambled on for long enough, so let that be it for this video. I'll try to get it uploaded now, and see you in the next one.